All right, recording has started. Chapter 26 is The Song with 5 Names. The summary is, sometimes people are better off dead. In your head, in your head, in your head, and yet you believe it's true, well you do, like you knew anything ever. This isn't far off from her first days on a new planet Earth, running till her legs are burning into a nothingness you don't recognize, monsters around every corner. Worthless for the air in those organs, she was told, and she knows. It didn't start with this sprint. At first it was walking, simply walking away as obediently as she can to minimize her Misty's dysaucery. But the further she traveled, the louder her voices became, the things that reminded her of her place. How heartless, they say, to pity a man before knowing him, to assume that she had any right or place or importance to someone she had just met. How unkind, how very, very cruel. Is that what you would want? Pity and nothing more. Legs lift more forcefully, escaping the thoughts that come up in the quiet, by perhaps exerting herself until the chemicals in her brain can resort their balance, help her make sense of things. The music she played saves her from having to hear her own thoughts. Same with the others within mankind who say their mind as she questions, giving her other words to listen to. Where sound fails, maybe other senses can rescue. Maybe, just maybe, she can set herself on fire until she feels nothing else. Her everything goes into this, and that is how she begins to run. And what of the rest of them? It can't be helped but to consider the realization of how upset they will be, the fighting amongst one another, seeing her for how she is. All her fault, all her fault. How weak in spirit, how disloyal, after everything they had done to keep her in place. She is now gone. All their efforts, advice, generosity up in smoke, because she could not stand her ground or keep her mouth shut. This is when running becomes running away. She has done them so wrong that she must never be found. Coward, coward, to not face her consequences and instead leave them alone forever. Just because she doesn't know what else to do. But what choice does she have, this far into her mistake, but to save them the trouble of seeing her face again? The dark clouds had foreboded the worst, and thunder cracks in the sky as rain begins to pelt down, strong enough to break the canopy of trees in spurts as they collide and conjoin from leaf to leaf that fails to catch their fall. It feels like the sky is spitting at her. Any minute now, that tree when the stranger was little could fall again into her bedroom and wake her up. It had missed the first time, and so a crushing death is overdue. She doesn't know where she's going anyway, so it is best if she closes her eyes. She closes her eyes, and from the bottom of her heart, the stranger screams. At some point unknowable, the ground is underneath her face, a trail of mud dripping down her arm and into her staining cut. She is no longer moving, but she doesn't care. She does not care. The darkness of her eyes being shut becomes darkness of another kind. Laying face down begins to feel less and less absolute. The dirt beneath her disappears, and she feels like she's dangling instead, that the pull of gravity wants her further down than where she is now. She feels limp. Her hands reach out in front of her like there is nowhere else to go, and her palms open. Another crack of thunder and she's standing up, a triple-bladed scythe in her hands. It has already been swung. The blades are all stuck into her kidnapper from what feels like yesterday, like a fork picking up a piece of meat. She does not see all of his face, but can tell that his gaping mouth is oozing blood. Screaming, screaming, but it is not her own. It may not even be his. The moon is big, but the sky is red, and a war she does not know wages all around her. Eyes shaking in her skull, cannot otherwise move, cannot otherwise look around and see what she has lost within. One of the shouts drifts into being more distinct, crawling away from the cacophony of a painted hellfire choir to speak clear words. A civilian, horrified, disgusted. What is she doing here? This man who taught her to be afraid asks her without words if he deserved this. And just as she had been afraid of, right where she had been punched before, her eyeball collapses in its socket. She has, after all, done nothing today to deserve her eyes. The ocean is crashing inside of her ears, as her head fills to the brim with crimson. Chapter break. So don't you forget that all you project is just to protect you from the void within the form. The crackle of fire. It never seemed so soothing before. Could hell really be so bad if it were as peaceful as this? The lone traveler asks herself this question first, even before she is awake. In fact, someone else notices that before she does. Hey, I think she's up. Dark shifts more to light, but sight does not yet focus. Her vision is half fuzzy. Did she really lose an... Be quiet. It's best if she... Too late. A gaping stare sees but does not understand, and the dream is still so fresh in her unconscious that it is considered if she really did bust an eyeball open and it's gone for good. But somehow there is something with more urgency than a torn-up body to take care of. Who the fuck is that? Adrenaline kicks in and she sits up fast, one palm onto cold stone and another arm up to guard herself, as a mind reels to comprehend the threat she has woken to. The reaction is returned. Breaths already stifled by gas masks, hitching behind strapped cloth. Their own hands up in a flash with weapons to defend. They hold the same kind of knife that Hidan and Kisame used to spar, that the former gave to her in order to sacrifice his body for her sins. What the fuck? Is she still not awake? Hey, take it easy. It is spoken both to her and to the comrades dressed for warfare. She's just afraid. Look at her. And the woman briefly sees herself as they must, a wild animal flinching at every movement, yet too afraid and to run to safety. Eyes dart back and forth, perhaps beginning to see clearly, perhaps hallucinating, and her heart is beating so fast it feels less like a pound and more like a constant buzz in her aching chest. There's a breeze in the air, and it feels like someone could be behind her. It is cold, and yet it is familiar. Is this a cave? Across the campfire, demands are being made. Tell us who you are. Hold on, you can't just go right out of the gate with that. We should ease into this. And give ourselves away? What choice do we have? Tie her up and... No, we're fucked if that's our next move and you know it. On enemy territory, Akatsuki around the corner. The word their friends call themselves is now thrown out in hatred, like it's something to be stomped on until dead and gone. We don't have that kind of discretion. This can't be happening. One voice sobs for her, the first this shinobi has spoken at all. She sees them hold their own shoulders so tight, the sturdy-seeming material dense, and they try to be small enough to disappear. Come on, get it together, both of you. We need level heads to make it out of this. The apparent leader of the squad, way they're talking, but something abruptly is apparent, and it makes no sense. Just stick with me here. Fingers grip the bottom of the gas mask, and it sends the two others in a panic, like this attire is the only thing between them and an ill fate. No, wait. What are you, crazy? But all the same, this mask slips off, and tired eyes look back at her, upon a face much the same way. Her lips part in confusion. And not just because they are at most a teenager, if not a child. This person has a headband on, much the same ones as worn by those who take refuge in her house. There's a star in the middle where other markings should be. It takes her a while to notice them staring at her raised arm. She flinches, reflexively trying to hide it. Hey. The young leader raises a palm, slowly approaching, scooting a bit closer across the cave floor. No use hiding now. I want to help. They command with the calmness of an adult, like the head of a battalion. What the hell is happening? We're investigating a group of rogues called the Akatsuki. Do you know of them? It means a whole damn lot that this is their first question and not why she was passed out on the forest floor. Their stare continues to glue on her arm, reddening to fight off infection after being drowned in the elements. It reminds her of when people stared at her shoulder, and it twists her gut apart. It is known that the answers she gives now are critical, but not how. And that's the most terrifying thing of all. Her response now is too slow. Listen, it's clear that the Akatsuki hurt you too. Nightmare. This is a nightmare. Help us. Tell us what you know and we have a better chance of getting you out of here. You can't assume that. She is a civilian. And though this is meant to vouch for her, nothing worse could be happening. Oh God. They think the cut on her arm, She stares again at the metal plate. It looks so strange to see a headband without a scratch. Why doesn't it have a scratch? What's your name? Her stomach wants to vomit, but bile needs to be swallowed back down. She can't get them in trouble. She can't. Even if she dies, she can't take her friends down with her. It is the only thing she can do for them. The only help she can give is to merely not exist in their space after everything they've gone through. But her throat chokes in this effort, and she can't speak at all lest she spew. Hands are thrown over her face just in case she really does throw up right here and now. She has no idea she's crying until someone tells her to stop. A hand is on her shoulder. She is a possession now instead of a person, and she wonders if it is one they intend to steal. We'll get you to safety, I promise. You can't. I can and I will. Foreigner or not, she is an Akatsuki. No one should be left to those animals. And lower, not unheard like they think it is. She's too pathetic to be one of them. The rain is lining up. The meekest voice notes with hesitation, as it is both relieved and afraid that this means there is no choice but to leave. Indeed it is, precipitation no longer blinding. Indeed it has been, the woman having no idea it was raining at all. The stranger begins to be carried away, hat nowhere to be found as she probably lost it long before she was found. It was useless, but it was cute, just like her. These people run and jump like birds, and as they spirit her away, like it's nothing. She doesn't even slow the quiet one down, giving them trouble keeping up as they bridle carry. Superpowers, just like the Akatsuki. Her fingers grip the shinobi's coat, much like this person was doing before, in fear. Where are they going? She can't bring herself to ask. Like her mouth is sewn shut. It's all over. Useless. 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 Die. 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 Be dead. You are better off dead. They are better off with you dead. What will these guys ask? Maybe they can hypnotize you too, just like Itachi can. You made him promise to tell you if you will die. They did no such thing. Take control. Do it yourself. Save the Akatsuki from whatever secrets you can give away. Die. Die. Be dead. Useless. You are better off dead. Make them kill you. The one carrying her asks a question. It momentarily saves the woman from this trance of sacrifice. Are you okay, miss? And abruptly, the world looks different. The water lands more gently on her skin, and it sounds like a peaceful patter instead of a storm. It makes her wonder if the cave they just left is where Kisame held her close. It is just as gentle and kind as that night was. Is she okay? She's not. But is it better if she shouldn't be? Silence. This voice suddenly sounds like her own. It's okay to be afraid. More silence. Trees pass by. One, another, blurring together. Brown and green and yellow and red, looking like a forest on fire, except it is too cold. My name is Hiniri, it whispers, so shy and nervous and very, very small. And I'm afraid too. This is my first mission outside of home. My home doesn't usually send people out so far, but this is pretty serious. And then they ask a question again, no motive besides sympathy, camaraderie to be found. What's your name? And with her heart 1,000 miles an hour, held in a stranger's arms, the woman shuts her eyes in concentration and tries to remember what Kakuzu taught her from the very start. Chapter break. You can break a shovel when you break new ground. You dig dirt up when you dig deep down. He'll ask eventually, you know. Is this tone scolding, she wonders. The performer waits to see, having not known this man for as long as she will eventually. The sharpness in his strange green and red eyes, from when they first met a week or so ago, is gone. Dull, tired. Why give her his time when he's this tired? The woman's gaze raises to a corner of the ceiling, noting how the edges of the walls maybe don't fit together anymore. How old is this place anyway? Anyhow, she finds an excuse in the tiny gap it makes. Idan hasn't yet, though. But the retort is as quick as it is exhausted. And the barkeeper wants to know your name now that you're hired. A girl from another world? That's what she said before, right? Is that a bad stage name? He wants your real name. Why? Yeah, that's pretty dumb when you say it out loud, huh? Don't need to see the bottom half of a bounty hunter's face to tell he thinks the same. Damn. Not getting out of this one when he has a point. Tilting down his clasped head, Kakuzu sighs, motioning the girl to come over, sit next to him on the couch. She is so obedient it puts a pit in his stomach, as she so naively stares so hard at his headband, memorizing its sigil and striker cross. You'll need one, you know. You haven't thought of one yet? A shameful pause, and this mouse shakes her head, having not completed her one assignment. Why not? Pink tinges her cheeks as shoulders squirm tighter into her body to make herself small. Afraid of commitment, I guess. Not an answer he understands. Hell, let's just get it over with. I'll do it then. Hypocrite he is, he understands suddenly what she means. It's been a long time. 70 years or the like. He just picked a new name and never looked back. Nothing more to it. Gemstone eyes look to starry ones. Does he have the right to shape her future? Maybe not. But she's not giving him much choice. That in itself is the first time he suspects she may not be entirely stupid. Less responsibility, the better. He grumbles under his mask and thinks. If she could have one future, he could pick a new one for himself. What would be best? The reason he cares for her is irrational, yes, but not non-existent. She is just like him, when he was full of hopes and dreams and loyalty. The things that nearly killed him did in fact kill a shinobi of another name, who was once proud to serve a village and willingly die, simply because it deemed so. Perhaps a piece of that is worth protecting, keeping a candle lit in the thunderstorm. He tells her a word, hardly believing it himself, as he confesses a wish near and dear to 5 reluctant hearts. Chapter break? You should know better than that by now. Lost deep in a forest she thought she knew, trained lips repeat her memorized answer. It is one that Kakuzu taught her to use to protect herself, hide from those who mean her harm. She remembers 2 instructions: to live and to lie if need be. Perform for your life. Tell them your name. Takara, she says, of Hoshigakure. The rain suddenly feels different on her skin. The wind is lighter. She opens her eyes to see they have stopped running. All feet but hers solid upon the ground. The other 2 ninja are staring at her, and she can feel it from the one who asked her confession too. Even through masks, she can tell. The voice that used to have eyes speaks, shaken like she set upon them a curse. Put her down. Nothing changes. The leader shouts more urgently, do it. You, the one literally holding her life in their hands, beseeches to not let go. They know something she does not, and yet again the unknown is the scariest thing of all. You said she's just a civilian. You set her down. We have our orders. The fingers around her quiver in fear, and yet the voice in the gas mask does not let down. We're just intel. Not anymore. The person holding her wears the headband around her neck like Hidan does. It has a star. A star. Smack, smack, smack. Reality hits her all at once. Hoshigakure. That is the village hidden in the stars. Dear God, this really is all her fault. And she was too much of an idiot to see it coming. She didn't even wonder why Deidara's bird would still be on the lawn before when it has exploded in front of her eyes. He had to make another. It was a caution. A caution to be ready in case these people whose name she stole came all the way here. That's why they haven't come home. The 4 others sent away are out there, defending the likes of her from trouble she dragged to their door. The words she took were tainted ground. Bait for sharks. She has made a name for herself in a little town, and now the whole world may know Akatsuki are here. And what is she to be doing so, but a dangerous criminal just as they? In slow motion, she can feel every grain of sand in the end of her hourglass drop by. The person scared like her lowers. Let me start that over. The person scared like her lowers the horrible liar to her feet. She can hardly stand on by herself, but the Hoshinin is helpless but to offer further aid. No further aid. That at this point would be their own suicide. We should kill her. The impatient voice, the one who was right about her from the start. That'll end this. Maybe so. The child agrees. And even as they can hardly say it either, they mean it. The person now behind her may be trembling more than she is. Yet another argument for her life. Why can't she speak for herself? She was begging for death mere seconds ago, and that desire collides with her instruction to live. What if her friends find out she let them down so bad as to really be killed? What happened to interrogation? Too risky. If she's buddy-buddy with Akatsuki, then bringing her back spells disaster. We do it here and now, and run. She's dizzy. The sky is falling. The rain soaks, and it is pulling her down like there is a grave under her boots that she needs to drop into. Maybe she does deserve to die. Do it. Trembling hands come in front of her. A glisten is held in these fingers. They are not hers. A whimpering is behind her ear, and it really does sound just like her. I'm sorry. A musician's death is fitting. A kunai is drawn at her arteries like a bow winding across a cello. The acrid scent of blood fills the air. And then, the sound of cracking bones. A neck untouched by a blade raises her chin. The corpse of her captor, impaled over and over and over again, hangs half limp and half stuck on Setsu's green, massive talons that pinch over his head as he bursts from the earth itself right behind her, right where the Hoshinin was. A fellow human being is being crushed to death between them, and gushing contents open like a popped water balloon. She looks up with her mouth agape, and red falls on her face. In a flash, it is dark once more. The traveler wonders if she is dreaming yet again. Chapter end. It's not profound to know that you can never know. And that was chapter 26. Chapter 27. Misery is a butterfly. The summary is, sometimes people aren't worse off alive. It's at your lowest where loved ones hold you most close. Dearest Jane, I should have known better, but I couldn't say hello. I don't know why. The darkness swallowing them both is both vast and very, very compact. Down, down, down. A little hole in the ground, maybe. Not a cave. There is no stone. You'll be okay. Material around them too soft to echo this assurance, instead absorbing the sound. She wonders then if it too keeps her from hearing more up and outside. He's on top of her, the smallest strip of light raining down from above, slicking the sides of a fiery mask. As hard as she can look, which is admittedly not very, there is still no hint of an eye in that black circle. It mirrors her own, layering over the one she was afraid to lose, the one that in turn had once been turned black with an attack just before she met the Akatsuki. Just as when they tumbled in the grass and weeds, he keeps her pinned now, too, hands interlocked with hers, with his body blocking as much view as possible, whatever little there may be. A racing heart begs her ears to listen, to hear if there are more of the breaking of spinal cords, the spilling of viscera, just outside of wherever it is Toby has taken her to hide and wait for it all to be over. Knuckles curl so hard, grabbing his fingers, a necessity when the stranger is so afraid. Her bottom eyelids are sore and wet, and it moistens the musky soil beneath her head, once done trailing down her face. To keep from screaming, lest they be found, she bites her lip until it punctures, and the scent of blood makes her sick. Blood, blood, blood. She has caused so much blood. You'll be okay. The word you is on purpose, she knows. No promise of an it being okay to be found. Though his hands cannot move, his body clad in clothes as shadowy as this place moves in closer, his chest against hers. He can feel every shake in her diaphragm as she struggles to control her breathing. It seems as if each time her lungs tremble, his assert, a strong, calm, even breath, trying to put hers back into rhythm. It's so perplexing. Even in her panic, the woman is surprised that Toby, too, isn't hyperventilating just as she is. Her eyes struggle to stay open, with it being so dark. exhaustion asking her to sleep once more, even as things are. But he, poignantly, either doesn't notice or doesn't care. Where her expression likely fails, she tries to convince with her voice. I'm scared. So softly, a voice much less silly than she's used to, serious as the grave. I know. Toby. She tries to explain her deepest fears. I need to stay awake. He doesn't answer. She listens again, searching for shrieks of pain and shouts of agony. The absence of them is even worse. That means she will not know when it is over. Her eyelids grow heavier. Toby. But nothing happens. Maybe she isn't explaining it right. Maybe he just doesn't get it. Blood and tears wash into each other, staining the roots and ivy with her soul. Toby, help me stay awake. But nothing happens. He presses closer, that rhythm forcing her to slow. As they curl around each other, his fingers stroke hers. No, he wants her to fall asleep. The eye that mirrors hers is briefly lit by drifting moonlight. It is blood red. Just after that, cold orange ceramic presses a mouthless kiss onto her bleeding lips, and she is gone. You'll be okay. Chapter break. But now I think you were sad. Yes, you were. You were. You were. She hasn't talked in 2 days. A name it is for Hidan and Kakuzu, but it is still more befitting for her. A zombie. Her eyes are half shut and she wobbles even when seated. Even in the safety of her home once again, told all is well and there is nothing to fear, she has become so small that it's almost like she isn't there at all. But she is. She can never make herself so tiny as to not exist, even by withdrawing completely. And the absence of her spirit makes the presence of her body so much bigger to the Akatsuki. Some of them don't get it at all. Hey! He downfolds his arms. Didn't you miss me? It's a far welcome from the last time they reunited. It isn't until he says anything that she so much as looks at him, let alone throw herself at the fellow Joshinist. It takes everything in her to just nod, a reaction so light that it makes him grunt in confusion. You sick? She shakes her head no, and his brow furrows over eyes. I misspelled that. His brow furrows over eyes that narrow in frustration. He has forgotten the chemicals so soon. Then what's wrong? The Reaper is so annoyed, and yet she can't say anything at all to make this better. With the remnants of fading well, she walks into him and lets Hidan do the rest. Her arms wrapped to her sides within the thin blue sweater she's using as a swaddling blanket. His violet eyes widen, and another vocalization rumbles in his throat, pitch heightening alongside his alarm. A hand grips her shoulder to shake her awake, and she tries to ignore the weapon on his back. How many people has he killed with it? How many that him asking one from her meant so little? And yet she does not leave the comfort of his bare chest. The triangle of his lord pressed onto her skin. Takra? Angel? She says nothing. It is the first time Hidan has ever really felt sick to his stomach since becoming a full-grown adult. Some others are afraid to do more harm. Hidan. The named man looks over her head, locking onto Kakuzu as he walks back in the door, returning from the mission. The Stitch One, in turn, is staring down at her. There's a softness in those eyes that the Joshinist has not known. Don't bother her right now. The silver demon sputters. Bother? Even as they fight, the woman does not flinch. That is the real sign something is very wrong. She just came up to me. Then let her stay until she's done. Don't keep her. Why? She hears a silence, vision steeping in the black and red cloak that folds near her face. There's nothing left in her to flip in anxiety. If she feels the bounty hunter still looking, she cannot bring herself to care. Apparently this silence means something to the two immortals. After some minutes of laying down while standing up, she takes a step back and they leave. Hidan gives repeated, reluctant glances over his shoulder as he observes her own hunched, a frown towards the floor, and eyes that don't seem to see. Kakuzu presses a palm on Hidan's back to urge him to keep going. He's never touched him that gently before. Some of them are concerned for her health. You should sit back down. An unknown amount of time later, the stranger finds a hand with a blue rein guiding her back to the couch where she was. Another of his needs to grip her arm too, lest she plop down haphazardly instead of gradually fall. Datara's brow curls, and he tilts his head. His smile never wavers in position, but does so easily in meaning. You sure she doesn't have a kind of sickness, my man? He asks the next person walking in, worry tinging his usual lax attitude. Some of them don't know how to say they're sorry. No, nothing's wrong with her, Sasori answers, a front of unfeeling, defensively around him. This is her own doing. Technically it's your fault, isn't it? No. But nothing. She doesn't have enough prior knowledge to know that, surprisingly, it is rare for Sasori to interrupt when Data argues. The man protests too much. He is indeed more antsy than usual. The blonde was too light, though. He wasn't going in hard enough, someone else will say. Her eyes shut and open. Day becomes night. I don't understand. There's a shake in Sasori's voice as he crouches in front of her alone. A ring is on his thumb. She is finding no one shares the same position upon the hand. She sees it twitch, and her arm raises forward to him, a palm up to beseech, and it's as if it isn't even her own doing. His unblinking eyes are so very wide, less like human and more like those of a doll. There's nothing wrong. You came back without a scratch. Why? She doesn't know if he's asking for answers from her or himself. He reaches forward too, ever so slowly like a puppet trying not to show its strings. His palm comes underneath the back of her hand, flesh of his soft yet cold, almost rubbery. It slides and smooths and flutters around across her skin, and it sends electricity up her arm and down her spine. Gradually, ever so slightly each passing second, the weight of her body grows. Futilely, her limb goes limp. As it becomes abruptly clear, she will not move on her own. He looks with those wide eyes at her hand, like it's a toy he cannot fix. A sin this is, and somehow it isn't one of hers. Why? Why are you doing this? She's sorry, so she closes her eyes, and the world once again moves its people in and out of her sight. The scorpion's touch is gone. Some of them feel they have failed. I cannot believe you let this happen. Yet another unknown length of time later, the blue one is here, leaning all of his self into the unflinching space of a redhead. They are standing in the entryway of this living room, and it is still dark out. Her a mute witness with no one to tell. Sasori regains his hooded gaze, and Kizume's eyes, even so small and far away, clearly are as big as possible. They may be reddened, too. It's hard to tell. I have expected this from the other two. But you couldn't just leave my low expectations well enough alone, could you? And nothing more. This may have been going on long enough that Sasori is finally tired of giving retorts. Give me one reason Samehara shouldn't shave that wood of yours off, slice by slice like the teensy twig you are. Kisame, some of them know better. Itachi out of the corner of her sight, so close, he got so close without her noticing. She has enough wits about her to know this lack of awareness should scare her, but not enough energy to care. The Uchiha steps in front of her, the familiar black and red that haunts her life, blocking half of her vision. She can't see the scorpion who had stunned her in fear, but she can see a shark's teeth grit, as if he's taken a bite of her flesh and is afraid of what he's done. Itachi-san. Less that these words are spoken and more that she can read his lips. Kisame's glance twitches back and forth, presumably between the Uchiha's face and hers. I'm sorry. He backs down submissively to the former. Fish eyes go down to the space on the couch. I'm sorry, he repeats just for her. The most she can give is a blink. Concerned, he steps forward. Kisame. The voice that gives her peace now gives this named man dread. Come back later. Despite himself, the Kirinin knows this is for the best if his partner has deemed it so. Itachi, after all, knows him better than he knows himself. He feels his mouth stretched to show more teeth, unsure himself if it's a grimace or a pathetic, apologetic smile. And even though he knows his partner well, Kisame still begs. Take care of her, Itachi-san. And he may or may not nod in reply. Seeing Sasori stare back in silence, her lids shut before Kisame can finish turning his back. And when they open again, the man with two sets of eyes blink their dark gray as he leans in front of her from where he sits, most likely right next to her. Are they touching sides again, as they did some time ago? She can't tell. Takara-chan, he whispers. He's never called her that before. They are alone, no Kisame nor Sasori. I'm sorry this happened to you, Takara-chan. He seems to be contemplating something. I'm going to help you sleep now. Don't be afraid. She wants to scream at him to stop, but the red eyes raise to bring darkness upon her. Lids shut once more. She feels a press against her forehead and a few strands of hair drifting upon her skin that aren't her own. He kisses her sweet dreams, sweeter than those he can have for his own. A small reprieve. The weight of being alive in an unmoving shell loosens, shackles dropping from her wrists. She stands at the ocean, and an arm with a crimson ring holds her from behind, a chin on top of her shoulder. The woman named Takara wonders if he may know these waves too. Chapter break. What I say only to you, 'cause I love, and I love only you. Dearest Jane, I want to give you a dream that no one has given you. She's still like this. It's hard to miss him, and not just because the sheer size of Zetsu can only command attention. He tilts his shoulders forward, and she remembers the corpse dangling down from tall, jagged spikes. He saved her, though. Saved her from what? What does it mean if the Akatsuki have deemed she is not better off dead? She can hear us, the deeper voice observes. Lips speaking without movement. Brighter returns. Ghost? White Zetsu prods. Ghost. The sky is bright outside, color flooding in from either dusk or dawn. She is guessing the latter. She feels her head bob and lips part, but that's as far as the frayed connection between mind and body allows. She hears a crack and it reminds her of the bones. The fly trap is lowered, and cloak on the ground, and arms reach to hold her hands as she can offer no dance. Setsu kneels on the floor in front of where she is, frozen upon the couch. Black, white, how does he work? Do they take turns in control? Do they both have to move at once independently? The dark hand grips so tight it hurts, while the light strokes a thumb upon her knuckles. What could he want from just a little ghost? You're a funny one, the softer voice whispers. She thinks he is too. Just as soon as he came, he is gone with the others in the spy's place. Her stomach hurts and is making noise. How long since she ate? Deidara frowns from one chair as she sees an amber rain on blue fingers come around to hold her side. Too long, I'm sure. How long is it that civilian types can go without doing that? Not this long, I know. There's a huff of Kizume's breath in her ear as he lifts her up, carrying much the same way the Star Ninja did, who was just like her. Come on, princess. Let's try something else. Orange soup is in front of her on the kitchen table. A spoon is put in her hand. Her reflection is in the liquid, and she doesn't think that's what she looks like. Encouragement from the sidelines, someone yellow and someone blue, reigns opposite that, ahead of her in other seats. Itachi-san made it just for you, Kizume says, and he resorts to something he normally does not, for she who takes things so seriously, guilt-tripping. You can't disappoint him, now can you? Let me try that again. You can't disappoint him, now can you? Deidara rolls his eyes with a growl. Hardly a reward. He fans himself in a self-aggrandizing way. Takara-chan, you finish that bowl and I might just paint your nails again. Might? Hardly a reward yourself. I mean, of course I'll do it. They bicker like this, as her stare swims in the dish, half-closed eyes lost in a vegetable soup. The pieces within bob ever so slightly up and down, trailing past the reflection of her face. It begins to look less like it's supposed to be her, and more like she's just fucking staring at a bowl of soup. That's a good thing. As the sound of her friends fills her vacant mind, it is easier to find her senses reconnecting. Her fingers twitch the muscles under her skin and on top of bone, and she manipulates it ever so slightly into a hole better suited to eat. The clock on the wall behind her guest says it's about half an hour until she's done. They really sat here that long? Well, granted, Deidara needed the aid of having something for his fingers to do, and Kizume looked pained the entire time. But still, very nice of them to be so patient. She drops the spoon into the bowl to indicate it is done. The swordsman sighs as if he's been holding his breath. Good. Deidara is a man of his word, opening the polish as they sit on the floor where they've spent their few prior sleepovers. He demonstrates again how to stretch out your fingers, and she managed to replicate, letting him hold in place with a gentle, precise touch, as the scent of paint sharply fills her nose. She blinks more in these minutes than she has in the past few days. See, Takara-chan? No more chips. The artist is exerting more exclamation than usual, making it seem like a grand achievement. Perfect match with me again. And it is finally his turn to exhale, a breath Deidara did not know he was holding, as he sees her wiggle the fingertips at him in the meekest show of excitement he's ever witnessed. It puts a grin on his face. Satisfaction must like seeing his work explode. That reminds him. Oh, don't go ruining your nails over it, but... The taunt on his face sticks out as he reaches into his pocket. I finally finished this. The lips of a palm close, as he couldn't have helped but give one last finishing touch, the little statue she's seen him working on since the day they met. It is a girl in a hat, wearing a dress, and holding a bag over her shoulder. Does she look like that? The thing is cupped in her hands, the amount of detail helping her eyes twitch more and more to take it all in. Blink, blink, blink. It feels like her vision is more in focus than before. Edges not quite so fuzzy. It takes a while for the sculptor to realize that she is returning it to him, the way it's so slow and gradual how she pushes her palms back in his space. No, that's yours to keep. But she gets even closer to him. Deidara hums in confusion as the gift is taken back. He twists the thing in his fingers, looking for flaws. What? What's wrong? Bright blue eye twitched back up with a hum as her index finger unfolds to point at him. You want me to keep it for you, he guesses. The barest of nods, but the point continues. What? Continues. What about me? Oh. He smiles wide, not the sort he puts on, cool, collected, angled ever so slightly to the side on purpose, but one big and toothy and unabashedly sincere. If this is still a performance somehow, then it is one that deserves his applause. Even without a voice, what a powerful siren she is. You want one of me, don't you? And for the first time since she came back, she smiles too, and Deidara feels like a butterfly. She accidentally closes her eyes. The hell are you doing out here? The sky is dark again by the time Hidan arrives, his own cloak missing just as Deidara's is. However, the latter is wearing his green pajamas and holding his chin up with pointed elbows on the floor, kicking his legs like the slumber party it is. Apparently, Hidan just sleeps naked. She doesn't feel her cheeks prickle pink, but figures they should be. I could ask that of you, really. Would it kill you to put on some pants? Yeah, it fucking would. And in front of the lady, no less. Who cares? Not like she's awake, or whatever. She isn't comatose. She feels Hidan stare on her as she lays sideways on the couch. It is even more distracting than his uncovered body, even. He's frowning. Then what is she? Traumatized, I think. Hilarious. I mean it, though. That's what Sasori said, too. Traumatized by what? She fucking survived. Sasori Nodana said that we can't necessarily pick what makes this happen. If it happens to us. Easier for a civilian than a ninja, too. Why don't you cover up your dick and come back, if you don't plan to leave us alone? She still has eyes and ears. She can feel him staring still, judging if that's the case, and does her best to blink at him. Gradually, his face gains a color, usually reserved for her, and he rubs the back of his head, gaze bashfully turning away. Yeah, okay. Fine. He comes back sometime later with his bottom half now dressed, a bare arm over that of the couch nearest her head. Hidan is positioned in such a way that she can't see him, but most assuredly he is very, very close. Every so often a finger tickles the top of her scalp. So you can hear me, right? Hidan asks, though not waiting for a response. So what's up, girlie? What's there to be afraid of when you didn't even get hurt? Only this woman would know so well to not assume this is an accusation but a genuine question. It's clearly more difficult now that her voice isn't here to explain it all, how the sickness in her brain works. But as much as she wants to answer. Ask her later, Deidara butts in, and somehow he says exactly what she means to. Talking seems to be the hardest part. Hidan grumbles, and she hears cracks as he rolls his shoulders. It makes her sad, how stiff he's gotten, and how stiff he's gotten, and it's likely her fault. Well, that's a huge pain in the ass. Oh, yeah. Be a great look on you, though. Real comedian tonight, huh? You're the one with 10 mouths. It's 4. Still too fucking many. She notices this night that Hidan does not fall asleep. His fingers idly comb through her hair and never stop. Not until Deidara begins to stir in the morning. She thinks at one point he may have put a kunai into her hand, grunting in disappointment as nothing happened. The Reaper and the artist leave for the breakfast, and while they are gone, Sasori holds her arm over a tub and cleans the cut on her forearm again, speaking to her and blinking, as he does when others are around and he needs to pretend to be human once more. The corners of his lip pull up as she finally reacts. The slightest hiss of pain, as alcohol on a cloth, slips between layers of flesh, and she notes he has never smiled for her until now. His stain is accompanied by a look from brown eyes so soft she can only compare it to chamomile cotton candy. Chapter break? Remember when we found Misery? We watched her spread her wings, and slowly fly around our room, and she asked for your gentle mind. Numb hands grip Kisame for balance as he takes her for a walk, tired mind suddenly much more aware of the vastness of the forest around them, even as the trail remains only on her property. Is all of the forest technically hers, though, or are the Akatsuki's now that they've claimed it? Hard to own a house if you don't know where the deed is, though. You shouldn't worry so, the knight says to his ward, feeling her tension. But he is helpless too, of course, as he acts as her anchor, trying to keep a balloon from floating off into the space she's from. Everything is in place now. Those Hoshi shinobi were taken care of. We made sure no one got away. He misunderstands why she is uncomfortable, assuming it is only the threat of others, and not also the threat to them. The man exhales. Here. Slowly, step by step, they approach one of the overgrown rose bushes she has adopted. The leaves are speckled yellow with various degrees of green still remaining. The petals opened wide and beginning to brown at the tips. We should take some before they begin to rot. Put them in your flower press, perhaps? And at first Kisame's heart flutters as he sees the princess reach forward. But it quickly drops as Sharp Eyes recognize she is more than ready to pinch it right into the thorns in order to get it. A clasp. As has happened before with these two. At first it is tight in panic, but soon recognizes its power, and the grip grows less forceful. His hand is so warm as it holds hers, even if it's to take her away from further harm. Here. Something steeps in his voice as his free arm reaches above the woman's head. Reaches in the woman's stead, navigating cutting. If she had more wits about her, she'd assume the worst. But now, it might sound something like love. She does love him too, after all. Blue fingers twist the stem so no thorns are left to be found as the flower detaches. It is put into her palm, just as they did before with Deidara. Cupped hands offer the gift back to Kisame too. He smirks, chuckling. No, that's for you. The red rose retracts to be held closer to her chest, and he wonders in what beautiful way those big eyes are drinking something so simple in. That's for me. And his heart stops beating entirely, having no idea he could miss the sound of her voice, even more than he thought he did. Chapter break. Misery is a butterfly. Her heavy wings will warp your mind. Reluctantly, Kakuzu put in his own effort with the good news. Giving her something made her talk again. She's seen him come and go in passing, just to check in. But the hunter's never stayed until now. Gift in his hands. Miser he is, he's playing smarter and not more expensively. Off his shoulders and then over hers go the strap of the guitar. Figure you missed this. She looks at it dumbly as it rests upon her lap. Nothing said, and he sighs. Of course, it can't be that easy. You didn't forget, did you? How did it go again? With struggling patience, hands wearing a dusty turquoise ring help arrange her own to hold the instrument properly, taking guesses until it looks right, same as the many nights they spent at a bar together. One hand on the strings, other on the neck, and like a fish to water, soon as his touch retracts, she strums. Dum, dum, dum. He blinks. Okay. Well, it isn't nothing. Maybe she'll get back into it. Do more than just pluck a single note over and over. Dum, 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 dum. This is getting old fast, actually. Play a chord, he half suggests, half demands. The scarred bottom lip purses ever so slightly, and then her wrist winds back to strum proper. Takara! The front door slams, and the treasurer's partner flings himself in, expression plastered upon his face, as if he figured out how to solve world hunger, or solve world heathenism. It's very smug, is the point. Kakuzu's head whips to the sound, glaring daggers so hard his eyes twitch. But Hidan has brought 0 fucks to give. What he has instead... I got you motherfucking fish! Indeed he did. Upon the coffee table, out a bag, one after another, is one form of seafood following more, uninterrupted as she merely stares with the guitar in her hands. It's guaranteed her reaction may have been the same even if she had all her senses. Bento box of sushi, fried crab, a whole fish, grilled shrimp, a whole fish, more sushi, a whole fish, a living fish. Hidan! Forceful hands reveal stitches as the last one comes out, a flopping wee thing that a fishmonger sold overpriced to a fool who didn't know better. Her still glance locks onto the creature as Kakuzu knocks his idiot partner into a wall, squabble starting. The hell you doing? She barely hears out of sight. Flop, flop, flop. Gentle but desperate knocks onto wood where the tiny beast was unceremoniously placed. That can't be comfortable for the fish. It's kind of small. Maybe she can... She told me she likes seafood! Running water. For some reason, these actions are so easy. No, easy isn't the right word. It's like she's on autopilot, not even having to think. Maybe it's because it's for the betterment of something outside of herself. You are the biggest buffoon I have ever... Plop. Huh? The waiter asks. In the middle of Kakuzu holding Hidan up by the collar, both look over at once. Kakuzu speaks next, and though it says little, it concedes much. Huh. Drop. Hidan sinks to the floor, but his fists raise in success. Hell yeah! She stands next to the fish in the bowl set upon the coffee table, hands folded in front of her lap as it swims within. It must be happy. Or at least doing better now that it isn't suffocating. How did it get this far without water, anyway? Well, not what I expected to happen, Hidan notes. But it worked. What worked? The silver demon shoots him a look like it's the ragdoll who's from another planet. She moved, dipshit. Hidan, Kakuzu stops in his tracks, to his dawning horror. That is the point. He has never exhaled so loud and long in his life, pinching his brow. Idiocy has saved the day. God damn it. Her hands politely raised to clap in congratulations, bright smile and closed eyes to match. And Hidan allows himself to feel joy, even when no such thing explicitly permission. when no, even with no such thing explicitly even permitted by his Lord Joshin. Chapter break, with her small ugly face, and her long antenna, and her pink and black heavy wings. The performer should have asked herself sooner where on earth her mimic had gone. It's so strange to have not noticed his absence, the way Toby always inserts himself into every conversation. Where had he been? She sees his orange mask for the first time since he wrapped around her deep in the ground, guarded her from further harm. How long has it been? A week, perhaps? Time has always been hard to keep in this universe, no appointments to maintain and whatnot, and so it is as elusive as grains of sand blown in the wind nowadays. Toby faces more towards her, while Itachi faces more away, nodding, talking. It lacks all of the usual mime-like flings of arms and jumping of feet that her rescuer usually puts on. Itachi eventually passes by and leaves. Quiet. Chickadees twitter somewhere outside. Is the window open? Part of her hopes so, to feel a nice moonlit breeze. Part of her is afraid, as it means another way for someone to attack. Ever so slightly, the spiral shifts its angle, gaping black hole pointed right at her. The figure in shadow wearing a long green scarf otherwise stays still. What is he doing? And then, step, step, step. He holds his position standing over her a long moment, ever so slowly, crouching down. She thought it was a mistake before, maybe just a coincidence. But now it can't be denied. Covering where his lips should be, the curve of a spiral bumps against her mouth, about as tenderly as icy stone can. He will be a different person tomorrow. It is only fair that if she can't wear her mask, he can set his metaphorical one down too. How long until the act slips, the performance fumbles, or he bows for the curtain to fall? It is inevitable, but Obito at least knows it won't be now. His mouth, for the sake of her safety, will ache in the dark for just a little bit longer. She sees red again where his eyes should be, and the traveler is reminded once again that Toby is a performer too. The sighing waves of water pull her back into dreams, and she imagines what his bare skin may feel like as he pins her down yet again onto soft and airy stardust sand. Chapter end. Remember when we found Misery? We watched her spread her wings, and slowly fly around our room, and she asked for your gentle mind. And that was chapter 27.